Hi. Welcome to the Occupy Democrat show from the great city of St. Louis, Missouri. My name is Mark Bland.
And I'm Jason Cole.
And hi, Jason.
Hello, Mark.
It's good to see you.
It's fantastic to see you.
I got a couple of little small pieces of information that I just want to put out there. Hi, Len. Hi, M&H Concrete. Hi, St. Peters, Missouri. There you go. Now you know it's real. Okay. That being said and done.
Is that like that thing in like Red Dawn? The chair is against the wall.
Kind of.
Chair.
Kind of.
Speaking to resistors. Hiding.
Listen, when there's resistance and people want to resist, Jason, you and me will teach them how resistance truly works. We will literally show you how the game is played. Now, we play the game at a much different level than everybody else in the United States of America, do we not, Jason?
We do.
We kind of play with guys like Rick Perlstein. We got Ro Khan. He was fantastic.
Oh, good. Can't wait for that next year.
Yeah, next year.
His book.
Maybe.
His
new
book
next year. I was wait till next year. Maybe we'll have him on later this year.
No,
Jesus Christ.
No,
Jay.
once a year.
All right.
That's it. That's all I get.
Jason?
Yes.
Today, Pete Hegseth, sir, and I don't know if you saw this, but today Pete Hegseth had another press conference after yesterday's press conference. I don't know if you saw that one too, to discuss the exact same thing this morning that he had a conversation with and yelled at people about last night. That's right.
You forgot.
But with more Pete and less commander-in-chief this time. You know what I'm saying? It was more just Pete on his own to sit there and yell at people.
Don wasn't hanging out.
Don wasn't just hanging off to the side. Don didn't hand it off to Pete so he could yell at the people in the crowd like he did last night. And Hegseth and all the cosplayers that are in the Trump administration are worried about these things because professional journalists and members of the media are who they are discussing things with.
Yeah, they don't like them.
Now, Jason, did you bring anything for this to play by any chance? I'm curious.
I have a short video of Pete talking about the success of the bombing raid.
Okay. That's fair.
But that might be separate from what you've got.
Do you want to start off with that, or do you want to start off with the media aspect?
Let's run with the media
part. We can run with either side. Okay, if you could play clip one from me, it should be Hegseth.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard, it's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump, because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, fly a plane for 36 hours?
I don't know. You know what? They did mention it, so it's not like we didn't know that. But when he's talking about rooting against Trump, he's talking about the truth. That's what he's talking about. When he talks about against or media or you just don't like, he's talking about the truth. Somebody mentioned the truth And that's how Pete reacts to the truth.
What about this has anything to do with Donald Trump and liking or disliking Donald Trump? It seems as though every move you guys have made, you've done it anyway. It seems like the bombing raids happen. It seems like everything that you plan or change keeps happening. Whatever RFK says happens. Whatever Pete's doing happens. Whatever Trump's doing happens. It doesn't sound like anything is not happening because a bunch of words were spoken at a podium. By the way, let's really get it. Can I get this camera over here? Let's really get into this for a second. Why the fuck are you standing up there then? Why did you call a press conference at all? If everyone's just constantly lying and they're never telling the truth, and all they do is come to your press conferences, take your words, print them, and then it doesn't sound right to you, have you thought about the fact that maybe it's you? Maybe, look, I had to get my mic, I'm going to get right here next to my mouth. Maybe it's you. Maybe you don't know what you're doing. Maybe you don't understand how press conferences work. Maybe this is a situation where you just keep making things up. By the way, who better to explain to everyone, Jason, how to spin things and change them than someone who worked for, I don't know, has there been any radio stations or broadcast companies that have been sued for, I don't know, $500 million or more in the last 10 years?
Not that I know of.
None?
Well, there's some other right-wing media sites, but not organizations as big as, what's that one called?
Fox
That's
News.
it,
That's
yeah.
the one. Oh, and where did Pete work before this?
He worked with Fox News.
Fox News. That's right.
Weekend anchor.
He knows how to spin stuff. He understands exactly how that game works. But they're asking you questions about your bombing rate. That's why you set the press conference up. So when the person comes to the table to ask about the bombing rate, you're like, I hate this. I don't like it. Then stop. What did Donald Trump do at the last year of his first term? What did he do?
Just nothing.
How many press conferences did he hold?
Maybe one. I don't
Almost
know.
none,
Yeah,
because remember, he get rid of the press corps briefings every day. That's where Sarah Huckabee was at, and then that all ended in that last 6 to 8 months that he was president. There was no more daily press briefings.
Yeah, because the entire time he ran for the 2020 election, he didn't do anything.
Pete, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. This is not about bombers. Listen, St. Louis, Missouri, that's where we're at. The bombers, Whiteman Air Force, all this. Missouri. You talk a lot about Missouri. I'm from here. We live here. Literally standing in Missouri right now as I broadcast to you. I can tell you this. We're very proud of all of the men of the military who work hard on our behalf to protect our country.
Yeah, nobody has a beef with the military.
Nobody has a beef with that. What we have a beef with is you getting up there with your cosplay press conference, which, by the way, I said yesterday night, you and Trump were up there talking about bombing stuff in front of the press corps. Trump literally pulls you from the side, puts you on the microphone, and then steps off of the microphone because he got sick of, once again, people exist that aren't in your party, that aren't in your group, that aren't in your boat, that don't have anything to do with your message. It's not the question that is asked. Yeah. It's the question what?
That they want asked.
That they want asked. And that's the problem. Pete's not getting the questions he
wants. He's just going to tell you what you should have said. This is the answer to the question you should have said. See, but here's the thing. It's not our opinion that these raids were not as effective as they thought. It's the opinion of something called the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not, they don't work for the Washington Post or ABC.
No.
They work for Trump, and they're telling him it might not have been. It was definitely devastating, and it was definitely effective for the building, but what they wanted was underneath, and it might not have gotten destroyed.
I understand they're in power, and I understand that they're going to make moves that a lot of us here at Occupy Democrats, and me and Jason, are just not going to be a fan of. We get that. We understand that. What we need you all to understand is throw all that out of the windows. We're done. This is no longer. I'm going to talk about a story here in a minute that I'm pretty amped about. I really am, because me and Jay talked about it off the air right before we got on here. I'm pretty amped about this. But once I throw this cosplay moment out here with the news media, and then I talk about this next thing that we're getting ready to talk about, gloves are off, Trump. I'm sorry, we're done. You have wasted everyone's time. You're not good at being president of the United States. And this entire presidential run and administration has nothing to do with the United States or the United States government and the people of America. It has everything to do with you trying to just shit all over everything that we built for 100+ years. Every other president, Teddy Roosevelt included, that was elected, whose faces are on Mount Rushmore, not like yours. You're not on Mount Rushmore. You're not good enough to be on Mount Rushmore. Look at that. Hey, Jay, guess who's not good enough to be on Mount Rushmore?
Donald Trump.
That's right. His face ain't on Mount Rushmore. You suck, Don, because you're not up there. Those 4 dudes, way more respect in our book than you'll ever get. All 4 of them. End of the story.
You know, I'm shocked some farmer that lives near like a cliff hasn't blown out a section and put Donald Trump into like a mountain. I'm shocked that hasn't happened somewhere.
I'm sure by the end of this 4 years, he's going to try to update Mount Rushmore.
But
are you going to let that happen, ladies and gentlemen? They don't even want to tell you what's going on in the media. We have respected journalists sitting right there.
Yeah.
Hey, there was a Mr. Moyers passed away today, 91-year-old journalist.
Yes. Yeah,
very well respected.
Also worked in government.
People like him that are sitting there that do this for a living. They don't care about Trump. You see, you guys are so worried about who likes you and who doesn't. Who cares about you and who doesn't.
You know,
nobody cares about you.
I will give Pete a little credit. His suit game is pretty good. He wears some pretty nice suits.
He just wears blue suits that are
he's got
svelte and tight to his body. Like that's
I will disagree, however, with the hairstyle choice. That is, if
you're not a hairstyle.
Here's the thing: if I was buying a car and I'm out on a car lot looking at cars, and that dude walked out of that dealership, I know I'm about to get screwed. He's got slick car dealer all over him. That hair looks like it weighs 20 pounds. It looks so wet and thick. It's like a mop on top of his head.
Donald Trump just promoted a 22-year-old to deal with ballistics defense.
Yes, and that dude, did you get a picture of him yet?
He looks like the big ragu from Joni and Chachi is what he looks like. Like he looks like Carmine. But my point being is he's not electing anyone of value. That's a Fox News TV show morning host that screamed at a person about how to spin news. You're a Fox News host. All they taught you for the last few years was how to spin everything.
Well, with a known severe alcohol abuse issue.
Yeah,
right?
you've got that. Now we've got 22-year-olds who barely can get dates. Seriously, they can't even impress a girl with their current situation in life. You're giving them control over ballistics defense and stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about? You are not you hired Omarosa and then fired her. You're an idiot.
Fired her twice.
You said Tulsi Gabbard doesn't matter, and you ignored everything she said this past week.
He said she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's the director of his national intelligence.
She's the DNI.
Do you understand? He says that Iran and Israel don't know what the fuck they're doing. No, Trump, you don't know, I said on the last show, what the fuck you're doing. Israel's using you. Jewish religion doesn't respect Jesus Christ. Jesus is the focus and the part of the Trinity of Christianity and Catholicism and all those things that you hold dear as evangelicals in America. They would never protect Jesus. They didn't. That's the Judas story in the Bible. So they're using you to do their bidding because you have the big weapons, and now Israel's sitting back, and they have to sit there and hope that Iran decides to attack you. Because if Iran decides to attack and drop one of those mega bombs on 9 million people, it doesn't matter about Gaza anymore.
I think more needs to be said on what you just said. Israel is using him, and they are. Because what did we say a long time ago? The easiest thing for a foreign adversary to do, or any foreign country, is to just fluff him up.
Oh, yeah.
Throw some compliments at him.
Tell him whatever you
want
want
to
to
hear.
hear.
And you saw Netanyahu, it was like,
loves it.
That no president could have ever done that. That was so, like, he just fluff. It's just like slurp,
Any
slurp,
president
slurp,
could have made a phone call for a bombing strike in Iran. Any president could have, because they have the nuclear codes and they have the ability to do that.
I guarantee behind the scenes, Netanyahu was just praise, and got what he wanted. Iran could do the same thing. Just get a plane. Get you a nice plane. Send that to him.
Hey, Metro, could you pop up that ICE arrest with leukemia situation for me real quick? Put that up on the screen for me so I can read this to everybody while it's up on the screen. ICE leukemia, yeah. So I want everybody to see this. It says, Trump's masked ICE goons arrest a 6-year-old with leukemia at an immigration court hearing. All right, once again, we're back to immigration court hearings.
Those dangerous places that the ICE agents go.
The boy was crying in fear. One of the agents at one point lifted up his shirt, which displayed the gun that he was carrying. The boy was terrified to see the gun. He urinated on himself and wet all of his clothing. No one offered him a change of clothing for many hours, said the Columbia Law School lawyer. The child is enrolled in local public school in Los Angeles, where he loves painting and played soccer in the park. He has now missed a medical appointment to be treated for worsening cancer symptoms. The boy's enforced disappearance by the U.S. government should shock all of us.
All of us with empathy and morals.
Bring my camera back up. A 6-year-old with leukemia.
Yeah, I mean, a 6-year-old's bad enough, but a 6-year-old with a possible cancer? Come on, man. What are we doing?
For worsening issues.
Yeah.
Not like the cancer's getting better. It said for worsening issues, he missed a doctor's appointment. Fuck off. You're a jerk. You guys are losers. This is why I said the gloves are off now, Trump. We're done. You're messing with 6-year-old leukemia patients. At immigration hearings, evidently they showed up for the immigration hearing. They must have really wanted to be there. Maybe he likes playing soccer in the park with his friends because he was born here. He's a damn citizen like me. Like Jason. This is out of control. You are now starting to really piss off guys that you look eye to eye with and might be bigger than you. Don't forget I said that, ICE, Leo. You put all your toys on, that's great. Some of us fought people for a living, and we know what it really feels like, and we're not afraid to take 55,000 punches to the face. Do you understand? It's getting ridiculous now. If I have to deal with 6-year-old children, 6-year-olds can't even take a couple of bucks in some cases and go buy things inside the store.
No.
They're still working on A-E-I-O-U, vowels, and what they mean and how they're used in language. They don't know about ICE. They don't know about police coming after them. They don't know about immigration hearings. They definitely didn't crawl over a damn wall that doesn't even exist.
No, I mean, at 6 years old, you're barely able to learn like social, engagement, your social situations, and now you're locked up, potentially without any family with you.
What is your deal?
Like
That's crazy. But Jason, that's crazy. Like you and me as parents, any parent out there knows they love their child.
Yes.
I don't care. And man, that hurt really bad when I slapped that table. But man, you know what? It was worth it.
But again, immigration court, again, we stress these people are doing what they're supposed to do. They're trying to become citizens, and you're grabbing them from these easy target spots.
Oh, well, you must be against immigration problems, and you must hate deportation. And by the way, Jason, you must hate Donald Trump because you think it sucks that a 6-year-old leukemia patient got roughed up by a 40-year-old cop.
Yeah.
You just aren't American, Jason. Way to go. Way to go.
What I thought was going to happen when we talked about these mass deportations on a grand scale and it was going to be bigly was like actual gang members actually making my life safer. Actually making, like, I have family that live in Texas, maybe making their life safer. Maybe you took gang members off the street. No. It's 6-year-olds and single mothers trying to become citizens or
fourth graders,
day laborers trying to get a job that day.
A guy that was gardening who's got 2 sons that were veterans. Like, what are you doing?
That's who we're getting. The criminals aren't leaving. The criminals are like, all right, I guess they're going to
The
deal with
criminals
those
aren't
guys.
leaving. The only criminal is the one in the White House who's got 34 felony convictions, and no one seems to want to stand up to him.
Right? Like, we have the worst immigrant. A 34 felony convictions and a sexual abuse civil charge against him. Like, give me a
Jesus
break.
Christ, how many times does E. Jean Carroll have to win for you guys to realize even 50-year-old stories about rape from this dude are legit?
Yeah, you know what? Again, we talk about put him in your own life. It'll make it different. Ask yourself, do you know anyone in your life who owes someone else $85 million because they abused her and lied about it and defamed her?
50 years ago. 50 years ago. 50 birthdays, 50 weddings, 50 everything. Like,
you don't know
50
that
years
person
ago.
because you're not friends with people like that in your real life.
You're not friends with...
Yeah, you stay away from those people. You don't
many,
vote for them.
I got a question. Thank you, Jay. How many of you out there are friends with Homeland Security, ICE, or even LEO police officers that are roughing up 6-year-olds with leukemia?
Hopefully 0.
I'd like to meet them to their face.
Hopefully 0.
You know what, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this, and I had brought up that while we were live on the show, I'd love to go in and see some of the comments that are happening live on the show, Jason.
Yes.
And
People
this
make
is one of those topics
I
where I'm
understand.
interested to see what people are saying.
Hopefully
Let's see
outraged.
what people are saying here.
Hopefully angry. Not happy.
Oh, this person says, hey, Jason, here we go. We've got Jane Piper Lunt says, I wish they would take gang members. This way we would get even. Like but say take the bad guys.
Oh.
Like we're getting even. Like we're winning the war then. Like we agree with you.
I wish they would
take
gang members.
That's what Jason just said. Yeah, we want them gang members.
That's what we were told was going to happen. But right now it's children.
Denise says he's already been impeached twice, so I don't think that will make any difference. Besides, if they don't take Vance with him, we'll be governed under Project 2025 immediately.
Yeah, we already are, though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
We all told you. Let me explain to all of you how Mark and Jason get this job. Mark and Jason are on a Fox News affiliate. Mark and Jason kept talking the same stuff they're talking right now to a lot of people that were also Republican and listening. Not just liberals, Republicans that were listening to us too, because of where we're located. Because we were catching eyes like that, we got an opportunity to talk to all of you because they are listening to us sometimes.
Yeah.
They really are. The reason you need to take back that aspect of the party is guys like me and Jason that can pull that off for you. We can get people from the other side that listen. That's not our goal. We don't care if those people do come or not, but at the same point, sometimes they listen to us. He has been impeached twice. Yeah. He does have 34 felony convictions.
He even teased a third impeachment the other day. He was
teased a third impeachment?
Well, he was saying, like, I hope you do it. I hope you try to do it or some dumb thing like that. I just, he's at what point, or is there a point where some of these people decide this is too much?
What about the KKK? What about the skinheads? What about the real gangsters? Like the ones that we've been talking about for decades and decades as our problem in America, right?
Yeah, we have plenty of homeland.
Charlottesville was a problem because of white nationalists, correct? That was Charlottesville. That was a whole problem because of white nationalists.
Yeah.
At least I have that story. You know what story I don't have right now in America? 6-year-old with leukemia breaks into Occupy Democrat studio and murders Mark and Jason. Don't have that story at all.
It is not happening.
It's just not happening. But Jason, this is America right now. This is what we're dealing with. This is the people. This is how they're acting. This is what we've got going on. And by the way, when you're the ICE agent that's pointed to the 6-year-old and told to go get that kid and take him against his will and all this other stuff, how do you justify it? Because your wife and your two children need some food? Do they need to be taken care of? Maybe they need health care or health assistance. Oh, wow. Yeah. Weird. How you need to go make money so that your family can have health care. But the leukemia kid you just roughed up, he don't deserve any of it.
And why are you pulling up your shirt to show a 6-year-old you have a gun?
Yeah, why are you first off,
doing? Is it being an adult
brandishing
enough?
Is technically holding it in your hand, but to be honest, when you lift your shirt and do that, that's brandishing too.
Yeah,
That's a way of showing your gun off to let people know you're going to threaten them with it.
I would think just being an adult would be enough to round up a 6-year-old.
By the way, you know what city we're from? St. Louis. You know where that's at? The middle of the flyover states and rural areas. You know what everybody's gotten on the back of their windows of their truck? A gun rack in this state.
They do.
So we know guns well. You don't need to brandish a gun. You don't even have to flash a gun. Either you are what you are or you ain't. Life is that simple. Either you're what you say you are and do, or you're not. Either you back it up, or you don't. It's simple as that. And so when those journalists are sitting there with Pete Hegseth, and they're asking him questions, and then they go and put out their stories, they're doing their job. They're not goofing around. They're not wasting your time. They're not cosplaying. And by the way, it's just words. If you don't like the words, ignore them. You're already doing the bombings anyway. Whatever you look like to the American public and what they say because of the bombings that are happening, that's why you're elected. That's why you can't buy the presidency.
You ever notice, too, that it always seems to be the media are the ones that show their proof and not people like Pete Hegseth or Donald Trump? They never show you, oh, this is the proof. This is what I said. This is how it is. It's always the media showing them reports that they get, them the stories and the interviews and the quotes that they have.
Well, that's because
it's never the other way around.
If Tulsi Gabbard walks in with the intel and actually shows it to Trump, he just disregards it. He ignores it. So if I work for Donald Trump, I know everything I say doesn't matter. I know that nothing I do is going to help. Do whatever he says, or just take my marching orders and make sure that I tell everybody, excuse me, how awesome he is. How awesome is he with 6-year-olds with leukemia getting taken down by ICE agents? How awesome is he with bombings and being used by religions that don't care about your Jesus Christ at all? Once again, it's all about, for them, it was all about religion. If you want to base it off of books of the Bible and religion, there you go. Base it off the books of the Bible. They don't care about Jesus Christ. He's not even one of their prophets. They don't put him in a high ranking of any sort. They don't believe his story has any value. They didn't say he wasn't real. They just said they don't think. And by the way, when it came time, they were the people that handed the money to Judas so that he could go give the Romans the money and that they could drag him through the streets and put him on a cross. That's who you're helping right now because they need to be protected. Why? Why do they need to be protected? I thought the Bible would protect them. Our Bible was bullcrap. Our Bible don't matter. Our guy don't matter. We don't matter at all across the board, the
whole
board. We don't matter. So there it is.
I definitely think there's something to your idea that he's being used by Netanyahu.
He is. He's totally being used. Yeah. And the reason why we know this simply is this, Jason. We talked about it on the last show. Netanyahu talked in 2002 about how we were weeks and months away from enriched uranium. And then in 2010, weeks and months away from enriched uranium. And then in 2018, weeks away and hours away from enriched uranium. And then in 2025, days away from enriched uranium that they're not even sure if they got.
Well, that's even in
they
this,
were successful with.
Yeah, even in this DIA report, they say that they only set them back months. So everything works in months, months and weeks when it comes to nuclear stuff.
Listen, if Iran really wanted to kill all of us, and I know you guys are thinking that I'm just some apologist for Iran or something. No,
not at all.
Let's be honest about this.
Terrorist supporting country.
They're a terrorist supporting country with millions and millions of dollars that are flushed into their system on a week-to-week basis. They've had decades, by the way, of being Iran and not being friends with Israel. Decades. And in all of that time, they could have easily just wiped you guys off the map. Why do I need a bunch of bombs when I have a country with 4 times as many Muslims in it to run over your 9 million total Jewish people in the proper land or however you want it? Like, you guys got a new name every week. Right now it's the 12-day war. We got to name the pay-per-view. Got to name the pay-per-view, the 12-day war, so that we know what we're talking about. Hey, remember when that 12-day war happened? That was great. John Cena showed up. You can't see me. And it was awesome.
Like, why even call it anything? Just say the conflict. Or why are we naming stuff?
Say the conflict.
You know what I mean? Like, why are we naming things? Because is it over?
I don't know.
Is it 13 days now? Is it?
I have absolutely no idea because it hasn't ended.
No,
there might be a ceasefire of some sort in place, but that's until Israel just gets a wild crawl up their butt and wants to lob a bomb, or Iran wants to get a wild crawl up their butt and lob a bomb. Like,
I think everyone needs to remember, he also took credit for India and Pakistan ceasefire and had nothing to do with it at all.
India was like
according
pissed
to
off
both
about
those
that.
countries.
Yeah. India's own prime minister put out a thing, was like, he wasn't even a part of this.
At
Like, I don't know
all.
what he's talking about.
Like, wasn't at all.
That's our America right now, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Occupy Democrat Show. When we come back, more with myself and Jason. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I've went to the restroom. I've gotten myself composed. I was a little unhappy about our friend Donald Trump, and I understand that we got 3.5 more years to go, Jay.
Yeah, you know what, though? We are now under a month to 6 months in. So,
oh, that's good.
Right?
That's always a nice
positive
thing, you know?
stuff everywhere.
I have a tweet from Donald Trump that says Madami tweet. And if you could throw that up with me and Jason on the screen there. Yeah, I want everybody here. Zoran Mamdani, the 33-year-old Democratic nominee for New York City mayor, pledged to combat bigotry following his upset victory over former Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary on Tuesday of this past week. The Queens Assemblymen and Democrat socialists faced Islamophobic attacks from MAGA supporters, including Trump ally Laura Loomer, who called him a Muslim communist set to destroy New York City, and Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA, who referenced the 9/11 attacks to criticize Mamdani's win. In an MSNBC interview with Jen Psaki on Wednesday, Mamdani addressed using anti-Semitism and bigotry, citing conversations with Jewish New Yorkers fearful for their safety since Hamas's October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. He proposed an 800% increase in funding for hate crime prevention programs to root out bigotry across the 5 boroughs, emphasizing action over the rhetoric to tackle hate in the city. Now, the reason I brought that up is our friend Donald Trump.
All right, look at that. That's a president of the United States
Jason,
wrote that.
Can you read that? Do you have the
Yes,
ability? Could you
I
read that
can.
out loud for everybody? I'd like to
So,
read this.
think about how dumb this sounds coming out of my mouth. This was the president.
This is
who wrote that.
after Mamdani wins a primary,
Yeah,
by the way. It's
yeah,
a
just a
primary.
primary.
This isn't the election for mayor of New York. It's just a primary.
So,
take a listen.
It finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zoran Mamdani, 100% communist lunatic capitalized for some reason, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible, all caps. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC plus 3 dummies all backing him. And even our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in the history of our country. That man is a moron.
I love the fact that he pointed out he looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart, and he's got AOC and a bunch of people that back him. What does anything with that have to do with him just winning a Democrat? First off, you're the president of the United States. The last thing you need to worry about at all, I don't care where you're from. You don't need to be worrying about the Democratic primary for a group of individuals that you don't even look, that you look down on everybody who's Democratic and liberal. So why do you even care about the primary? Then it's about he looks terrible and his voice is grating. All this other stuff is like, what has that got to do? Eric Adams has run New York City into the ground. Yeah. The reason we're talking about it on the Occupy Democrat show is because we've got millions of people across the world that watch our stuff. In New York City, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what?
Eric Adams is a horrible mayor in New York City, and he's probably going to lose. And you're mad because you're just losing every move you've made with Israel, with Ukraine, with all of your administration, the leukemia kid, ICE, all of this thing we said, all of it has led to nothing. Nothing. I had a friend who was a financial analyst over last night just to hang out for a little bit. Words out of his own mouth. We've got no benefit from Donald Trump becoming our president financially across the board.
Oh, you know what? As long as Mom Dami doesn't break the law, he's easily going to be better than Eric Adams as mayor. So I don't know what Trump's complaining about.
And if Donald Trump wants to talk about lawfare, if Donald Trump wants to talk about people being attacked with lawfare and things like that, because that's what was happening when it was some fraud case about how you're doing fraudulent things that have nothing to do with the United States government whatsoever. No. It was stuff on the side you got 34 felony convictions for because you're just stupid and don't know what you're doing.
Well, and explain lawfare, Eric Adams is a Democrat and Joe Biden's DOJ put the charges on him. So where's the lawfare?
There you go. Also, if you got people in your own party calling for him to be deported, literally using the office of president and ICE to go deport someone because they won an election, that is literally. I got one pointed at you, and I got these three. 1, 2, 3 pointed back at myself. Every accusation is an admission of guilt.
Every time. Time and time again.
I'm pointing at you with one. I got 3 pointing back at me. That I'm wrong about the same situation because I know for a fact I'm as guilty 3 times as much as you would be.
You know, 50 years from now, there's going to be historians just like Rick Perlstein around, and they're going to be able to show the videos that we see today of like Spiro Agnew and Richard Nixon back then talking about the media and how terrible it is and how lying it is. And now we know they did everything they were accused of. They were complete criminals. And that's what we're going to see 40, 50 years from now. There will be documentaries. We will know. And you people that voted for him are going to look terrible.
Plus, the media is dealing with the Middle East war while trying to battle racism of mayoral candidates coming from our part of the world. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, nobody's getting a break here. Jason, how many stories do you and me have to file through for our 2 shows that we do a week? How many stories do we file through each week?
Oh,
hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of stories.
And those are whittled down to probably 25 that make the final cut. And then
we whittle that down to wherever our conversation goes. Exactly. Yeah. Like there's a lot that we try to talk about each week and we just can't talk about it all because he's throwing as much over here to keep your eyes off that over there.
He's a story vacuum. He just sucks it all in.
This is crazy. I'm sorry if I got us demonetized because I said the F word. I feel bad. I don't want to get demonetized for saying bad things. I'm not that guy.
So. I think we're all
right. Jason.
Yes.
The U.S. Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision on today upheld that South Carolina's ban on Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood, non-abortion services such as cancer screenings and physical exams. The ruling, split along ideological lines, allows states to exclude Planned Parenthood from Medicaid reimbursements despite a federal law guaranteeing patients the right to choose any qualified and willing provider.
Good job, guys. Way to go, South Carolina, you idiots. Way to do yourselves in.
Why do you guys shoot yourselves in the foot here in Missouri? We
all the time
famously voted for Amendment 3.
Yeah.
It was the will of the voters. People literally got in their cars, went and checked a box, not on their computer, not on their little cell phone as they scrolled through. No. Went to a building like a church or something, checked a box, It got tabulated by Donald Trump's people. And by the way, tabulated on the exact same ballots that Donald Trump won the presidency of the United States on. So they're that useful. The ballots are that accurate and useful. So if you could use it to justify that, we can use it to justify Kehoe becoming governor and this person becoming mayor or that person becoming it. Like, it's that useful, except for in the state of Missouri, you can't have what the people
elected
voted
Republican
for.
officials know more than you.
That's right. And now we've got the Supreme Court of the United States upholding that South Carolina and states like Missouri and places like that can do things like this to Planned Parenthood. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you, listen, Amy Comey Barrett, why are you still so eager? You looked that man in the eyes. You saw him at that fake State of the Union. We saw the look on your face. You were angry. You knew what he was doing, and you know he's doing it right now. And you can't get a couple of these other guys like Gorsuch or Roberts or just anybody.
Hate,
like, you're just sitting there letting it happen.
Well, we said on the show before.
Kavanaugh on them, yeah.
Yeah. The only thing they've gotten from a Trump presidency is fuel for hatred. Unless you're a millionaire or billionaire, then you've got money. But otherwise, you have nothing. And now, if you're of meager means in South Carolina, you don't even get healthcare screenings. That's gone.
By the
Good
way,
job.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote the dissent with the liberals, calling it a civil rights issue. And honestly, the way they like to play gerrymandering in all these states for voting rights, probably was a civil rights issue. It seems like everything goes back to people of color, white people.
You know, this type of thing, though, if I'm Joe Walsh, I've got my talking point when I enter that Senate race.
Yeah.
And it's, let's get you that
let's
that
get
Medicaid
you that
coverage
sweet
back.
Planned Parenthood coverage.
Because they do a lot more than, when I grew
it's
up.
all abortions. It's all just backroom abortions at Planned Parenthood. It's like, guys, Planned Parenthood is way more useful and does way more things that help young people growing up than all of that.
Well, in the town I grew up in, I never even knew Planned Parenthood had anything to do with abortions. I just knew it was a way that helped younger people receive, contraception, get screenings.
It's funny that you made that statement, because now that I'm thinking about it myself, growing up, I knew Planned Parenthood existed.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked me when I was younger, under the age of 20, where to go for an abortion if one existed, I wouldn't have said Planned Parenthood. Like, that would have not been the top thing on my list. And by the way, it was the 1990s when I was that age, okay? We didn't have high-speed internet and all that. It's like 1991, 1992. So it's all word of mouth and cell phones and phones on the wall. We were just finally getting handsets that were
rotary
wireless.
Phones on the wall.
Yeah, we were finally getting wireless ones, kind of. Like, remember, it always had the antenna that you could push in. It was metal and screw on, and it never worked properly. Yeah.
Use it as a sword.
That's what we had. But I wouldn't have told you Planned Parenthood.
No,
I wouldn't have known that off the top of my head, Jason.
They do it.
How much time we got left, Metro? 4 minutes. Oh, that's great. That's perfect. Enough time for me to talk to Jason about this. Jason?
Yes.
There's a new report out on America's most trusted brands, and it's weighed the reputations of thousands of brands, including restaurants, grocery stores, household products, services, and entertainment. Okay? It's broken down here by generation. Let's talk a little bit about this before we get out of here, okay? For Gen Z, all right, that's the youngest. That would be my children, Jason's children, our children. The most trusted brand is, are you ready? Mm-hmm. Take a guess. Take a wild guess. What do you think it is?
Like for what? For anything?
Just a brand, just period. Across the board. Think of all the brands, everything that exists. What it is. You would be within range. YouTube.
Okay.
It's YouTube because they see it, they play with it, they are on it all the time.
Let's say YouTube or some social media site.
Follow that up. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Band-Aid.
Oh, okay.
Dawn dish soap, Costco, and Google.
Band-Aid and Dawn dish soap are one of those Kleenex type situations.
That's okay.
People ask for something, a Band-Aid.
Now hear me out.
Band-Aid's a name brand.
For millennials.
Yes.
The most trusted brand is, what do you think? Think of their time period. So we're talking like Facebook? 2000 to 2015, those kids. Like, what would be their main thing? You said Facebook. That's not a bad shot.
Yeah, I think that's their like
The
prime
answer
when they're in high school.
Is Google. Followed by
It's
PayPal.
an internet type thing.
Because PayPal became popular with currency exchange, which is one of the first things that we used to like trade money with each other before Venmo and all those. So that makes sense because that's their generation. YouTube also, Dawn dish soap,
Again,
and UPS or USPS. I'm sorry, not UPS. USPS.
They're going straight mail.
Postal Service. Yeah, straight mail.
Yeah, use that government.
Now, for Gen X, do you know what the most trusted brand is? You and me are going to disagree with this one 1,000%. When I rattle this off to you, it's
something like silly, like Walmart.
You're going to be mad. I've said it twice.
AT&T.
Dawn dish soap.
How is that?
Dawn dish soap does not represent Gen X at all.
Is it because of like all the ducks that it took the oil off?
The Goonies brand, as the Goonies, has more value as a brand in Gen X than Dawn dish soap ever will. Okay? By the way, my bologna has a first name.
Yeah.
It's OSCAR.
Yeah, it's not.
We've got bologna that has a first name. That's brand is more powerful.
I would say.
We still have a Wienermobile that drives around because our brands were so. This is stupid. Dawn dish soap followed by Oral-B, Hershey's, Band-Aid, and Duracell.
What is up with Band-Aid?
Duracell, the bunny, I'll give you a little love on that. That's fine. I'll run with you on the bunny that never ends.
That's an Energizer guy.
Oh, that is the Energizer bunny. Oh, wait, I thought it was Duracell. Oh, no, it is Energizer.
Duracell's the one that closes.
Never mind. That's it. Duracell's even off the board. It's got to be Energizer. You couldn't even nail the battery. The battery was the bunny who made his name in the 90s. Like, literally. Okay, finally. For the boomers, the old people.
Oh, boy, I can only imagine.
The most trusted brand is, Jason's only said it 4 times already, Kleenex. That's right, followed by Dawn dish soap again.
What is going on?
UPS this time, not USPS.
Oh, okay.
Tylenol and Band-Aid. Tylenol makes sense because Bayer, aspirin, they only had aspirin for a long time until Tylenol came along. And
kids don't even know the danger that Tylenol presented as a child.
Yeah, people don't even understand.
Taken it and died.
That's right. There was
Tylenol
a time period
killer.
where that was an issue.
Never been caught.
That's right. The Tylenol killer never was caught. But there you go. Your most trusted brands. Metro, he is definitely a Google guy.
Yeah.
Definitely a Google guy. You and me, Dawn dish soap people.
See,
Dawn dish soap people.
Those are those
crazy
brands too, like the Dawn and the Band-Aid and the Kleenex. They're the ones where it's the brand name that you associate with every type of that product. So every tissue is a Kleenex. Every Band-Aid is a Band-Aid. Every dish soap you get, we need Dawn. And then they go to the dollar store and they bring you back something called like soap.
Right.
But it's Dawn because it's blue and you put it in water.
Kleenex made so much sense for the old people, though. Like, as far as the boomers go, like, that makes a lot of sense because facial tissue,
I'm surprised the boomers weren't the U.S. mail and not UPS.
If we went one generation back before the boomers' parents, they actually had outhouses that were probably 50 yards behind the house that they had to go use at 2 o'clock in the morning in an ice storm.
Their favorite brand would have been inside
toilet paper.
plumbing.
Just toilet paper existing would be their favorite brand. The idea that
just toilets
exist. Toilets are a brand.
Not a bucket with a hole in it.
Right. It's usually a bucket in the corner. Like, it's toilets exist. I like toilets, the brand of toilets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Occupy Democrats show. No, Donald Trump, you are not out of my peripheral. You are still on my shit list. I'm sorry. I cussed a lot during the show, but I don't care. I'm really not happy now.
Just do what they do. Blame Trump for it.
Make sure you follow me and Jason at all of our stuff that's right down there.
Yeah, right there. Get
there it is. Mark Bland, Jason Call, Feather Bangs at Mark Bland, all that good stuff down there. Also follow us at Occupy Democrats on all of our social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. YouTube,
wherever you watch this show.
Wherever you watch the show, you're going to be able to find us every Tuesday and Thursday, 4:30 p.m. We will see you guys on the next show. Bye.